Hi there. Yes, it's Nick Dutch back on the camera again one more time for another delightful series of tarot readings here on the Nick Dutch Tarot YouTube channel. This is tarot readings by request, but not on demand. Some people do send me the occasional message saying, can I have one now, or what's the turnaround going to be? Well, what I like to do is to build up, a nice head of tarot readings for me to do. What you do is you send them through by private message on this YouTube channel, not via video response, not in the comment section, okay? It's got to be by private message, okay? If you don't have a YouTube account, get yourself one. It's quite simple and quite easy. You might want to copy and paste the address of either this video or possibly of the channel itself into a notepad document so that you can keep it aside, then go into YouTube, set up an account, and then quite simply subscribe to this channel, which is free of charge, and then send me through a message. And of course you can use your notepad just to, as it were, temporarily bookmark the channel. You can just use the bookmark function on your browser as well. But never mind. Right, okay. Obviously some of you people already know, some of you don't. My name's Nick Dutch. I do tarot readings for a living, and about once a week, somewhere between Tuesday and Thursday usually, I tend to do tarot readings. I do try and do this every single week. Sometimes I don't because, I've got a complex life like everybody else. But anyway, never mind. Let's just crack on with the readings for today. I'll very quickly point out, of course, that tarot readings are regarded, legally speaking, as an entertainment service, and that's for very good reasons, because you've got to think for yourself. You've got to see yourself as being the final decision maker in your life, not me, not any other reader out there. But you can use this as a moment of reflection and contemplation about your life situation, okay? And I think that that's a very good and very appropriate use for this service. People do call me from all around the world, and they do ask me for my opinions, and I do give them. But they often come to their own conclusions, and they use that moment to be able to help them to make some better decisions about their life. And I think that that's a very good way of using it. On with the first reading of today. Okay, very quickly, a quick reading for Green Pumpkin, who's come back yet again. This one's inquiring about job and career prospects. Let's have a quick look and see whether there's something new happening for you just around the corner. Just a moment, please. Now, I don't prime the readings. All I do is I lay out the cards the way that they come through, and I tell you basically what is the main message that I'm getting. I don't personally believe in any book meanings of the cards, and some people say, well, this sign means this and this sign means that. I think it's much more a question of how the whole conversation occurs with my mind and basically the signs which I'm getting in front of me. And what I'm seeing here is a good sense of hard work being done, something done to achieve new work, which is coming out there in the Three of Coins, okay? And also a sense of effort to get there. So there's still a feeling of frustration in the short-term future as you're trying to get to basically where you want to go. But there's also a strong feeling of desire. Okay, the Moon card speaks about many different things, and also self-understanding and looking deep into your own mind to try and work out what your character is like and which particular options are best for yourself, and also using your willpower to the best of your ability to make sure that you get something which is right for you on many different levels. So self-knowledge, self-understanding, hard work and dedication. Would these signs be coming out if there was no chance of you getting anywhere? I don't think so at all. If we look at the rest of the signs there, we got a sense of moral virtue, so to speak, which is often what the Three of Staves talks about. But it's also an energy sign, I feel. It's talking about the application of your own energy and drive and determination to get there. Very similar to the Three of Coins. And I think that the number 3 might have some kind of residual meaning to do with completion, wholeness, and your willpower going forward. I'm sure you've all seen the TV show Charmed, in which they always talk about the power of 3. Well, maybe the number 3 here is actually to do with the goals that you've actually set for yourself and making sure you achieve them, okay? A touch of conflict may be on the way to actually achieving the goal, but essentially I still feel you're going to get there, as well as a good feeling of support. The High Priestess I personally often associate with a feeling of community and cohesion around you, people who want to do you some good and provide you with the right quantity of support and emotional support that you need during a difficult time. When you're trying to select the right job for yourself, it can be very difficult for yourself emotionally. I've been there before, a couple of times, and so I know what that's like. On with the next. Okay, we've got Afghan Lover, who's curious as to what direction she should take her career. She's obviously about to start doing a bit of studying and wants to make sure that she chooses the right variety of courses. So we'll see what kind of things the reading is saying for you today. Just bear with me a second, please. Okay. Alright, well the main message for you at the moment is financial stability and making sure that you can maintain that. That's actually more important than your studies themselves, and that's coming out within the short-term future. Financial gain, alright, knowing of course that studying will do you some good in the long term, but of course stick to your short-term goals basically and make sure you can keep the pennies coming in first and foremost. But we do have some academic signs coming through further on down the line with a strong sense of actually enjoying doing some studying, because that does seem to be where you want to take your life. Do I feel it necessarily coming for you this year? Well, it's very difficult to say, but if the short-term goals are talking about keeping yourself alive and afloat, maybe it's not saying this for you at the moment, but maybe it's a question of choosing the right job so that you can then add that to your resume or CV and try and carry yourself further forward, okay? So the energies here are actually really rather interesting. Yes, there is a sense of there being studying coming your way. As far as which type of career, well, there's a subtle blend between, I would say something of a financial level, as well as something almost scientific. There's something very scientific or design orientated about you. And I think those are aspects of your character you might want to think about using later in your life. Okay? And maybe those will help you to decide which particular courses you should be doing. Okay, we've got one for Sandra now, and she's wondering whether a career in horticulture will actually do her some good, and is the kind of career that basically she should be doing. Well, we can have a quick look, we can see what the cards are saying. You also inquired whether you should be moving out of New York City or NYC. Let's have a quick look and see what the message is for today's reading. So essentially we're looking out for signs of travel and something of a possibly agrarian nature or earth-related nature. Right, the earth-related signs have come through, yes. Quite strong, quite powerful. The Four of Coins there, very much to do with stability. But it's only coming through in a very small aspect of the reading. It's not a massive predominance within this particular spread. So is horticulture necessarily the whole of your career for the future? Maybe it will be very useful in the short and medium term, and that might lead you on to other things, maybe working within supply or production. I don't know, but there's something which is connected to horticulture, which is not actually horticulture, which seems to be where you'll be going in the long term. That's just the way it seems to be. Now, as far as movement is concerned, whether you should actually move out of NYC is concerned, well, we haven't really got all that much in the way of moving and settling down somewhere else. There is a feeling of a connection to another geographical location. Maybe it's somewhere where you'll be staying for a while but not necessarily residing in full time. Or maybe the options that you've got actually in the NYC area is probably better for you in the longer term, but still somehow connected to the industry. I'm seeing you basically working and living on the outskirts, part of the city environment, but still not too far away from the agrarian environment, a place where there's probably some good distribution opportunities for something which is connected to the horticultural industry. So, I'm seeing you having some kind of connection with a large warehouse in the future. A large warehouse organisation that distributes anything from seeds, grains, supplies, machinery. But I'm also seeing you involved in the either design or creation of something associated with horticulture. Could be the selection of different seed strains. It could be, it could actually be improved farming methods. There's lots of different ways in which this could actually work for you. It's very much a question of seeing your interest in horticulture as being a foundation for something which is going to be bigger and better in the longer term, I feel. So think far into the future, but also work out where the first step would be. And it does seem to be a bit of a blend of different ideas that you've got, which is going to come into your future. Okay, love puppy, you've got a very complex question for me today about very great complexities to do with your relationship with someone who's already involved with someone else, and you want to see whether they're still involved with somebody else as well, because things aren't quite stacking up. Before I even lay down a few cards, what I will say is just look at the quantity of time he's got and think about how much time he'd actually take up with his work. And also work out whether it would make sense that he has got somebody else on the side as well. If he can spend a lot of time with you, and I mean a lot of time with you, then you're probably going to be okay. But if he's not quite spending enough time with you, and you think that doesn't quite fit with the story, then maybe you've got cause for concerns. You're still the final decision maker here, not me. But I'll have a quick look and see basically what's coming in. Okay, I don't think that there is yet another woman in his life. I just don't feel that and don't see that. Although I've got a sense that the dynamic between you and him is changing, I'm personally seeing that as your own willpower and your own strength coming to the fore, knowing that you want to make this actually work and work well. Obviously it's still difficult, the fact he's still dealing with his ex-wife, and that's really making things pretty hard anyway, and at some point he's got to make a big decision. And if he makes that sooner, that's good. If he takes too long over it, that's bad, and you may want to have to think about something or somebody else. On his side of things, yes, there are signs of him working hard, but there's also a sense of there being something not terribly happy or well about his state of mind at the moment. I feel that he's someone who finds it hard to prioritise at the best of times and is a little emotional, negatively speaking, to a certain degree. So take that into account as well. I don't think that he's quite, converging with you well enough for me personally to consider this to be a full-blown relationship, taking into account the difficulties that that you're facing at the moment. As far as how the future's panning out is concerned, well, there is a bit more light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak, but it's sort of slowly increasing. It's not perfect and all in place straight away. Your very short-term future is essentially full of signs related to trying to find equilibrium and balance, as is coming out in what is called in this deck the Adjustment card, which some people call, in some decks, is called the Justice. All right. But justice itself, as I'm sure you know, is about society making sure that things go according to plan for society, if you get my drift, and that people who do bad get bad things happening to them. Don't be vindictive, but do try and lay it on the line to him as best as you can that you need to try and get real resolution, and he's seriously got to start pulling his own weight, because, I really feel for you, and I don't want you to carry on suffering because he's basically making some serious mistakes, which is going to affect your ability to actually be comfortable in the longer term future. That just would not sit right with me at all. Longer term future, well, there are romantic signs there. There is a sense of there being some kind of warmth within the mid-term future, so I presume, according to what we see here, that he's coming to terms with how much of a silly billy he's been during the short term as a result of you actually laying this on the line. Then he's going to start to get a bit more romantic. I'm not really seeing him actually leaving the relationship with yourself, but it's still a question of how you play it. Think carefully about the words you're using when you speak to him. Alright, and the meanings and the hidden meanings associated with the words you use. I mean, we've got plenty of love signs in the longer term future. That's obviously very good and very positive. But, if you get my drift, you need much more from this guy. And he's got to start providing it one way or another, by hook or by crook. So, that's why you need to change the dynamic. This is the Death card. It's talking about transformation. It's not talking about, everything's coming to an end, it's terrible, it's terrible. What it's saying is, you've got a situation here, it's not quite what you wanted, your needs are important too. Okay, when you're in a relationship, sure, we've got to think about the other person, but also it's your needs which are important too. So you need to apply your own willpower. Remember, the Strength card came out here, which is the Nine of Staves. Okay? And that talks about your own inner strength and your own feeling of balance. It's been a very unbalanced relationship because he's basically had his way the whole time. And how good does that make you feel? I mean, this is supposed to be a relationship. It's not supposed to be master and servant, unless, of course, you're into that sort of thing, which I don't think you are. Just bear that in mind. I think this is a time when your light has really got to start shining. Maybe he's got to start thinking about where you stand in the relationship. And that's where things get a bit hard, really. Okay, Mr. James1235, I think is the YouTube channel name. This guy wants me to do a chronological spread to work out when he's going to be successful. Okay? There is a problem with that anyway. I'm sure you can work it out. The issue with us is time frames. They can be very difficult indeed. So all I can do is the best that I can, and essentially what I tend to look for is trends and the energies associated with how things could work out in the longer term future. And here comes my cat. And once again, the star of the show is not Nick Dutch, it's Little If. Yeah. The big soft fluffy pussy who always wants to distract me when I'm in the middle of doing something important. Isn't that right, Iffy? Always when I'm trying to do something important, like trying to broadcast to my audience and let them know what I'm doing and what I'm about and how I do my work. As we all know, the universe does not actually revolve around the place where the Big Bang originated. The universe actually revolves around my cat. I mean, this is the time when we can say that Copernicus and all the rest of it were wrong. Anyway, your chronological spread, here we go. Just bear with me a second, please. Same tarot deck, let's have a quick look. Okay. Right, yeah, we've still got plenty of signs of success and achievement here without a shadow of a doubt. I can feel that, and I'm sensing that really, really strongly here. But we've also got another message associated with how things could actually pan out. I mean, your ultimate success is coming out very strongly with the Ace of Wands there, you yourself being an individual who can force yourself upon the world and actually start to get the right quality of results to go after. Your short-term message, just like we had with the previous reading today, Three of Coins, hard work being done. It's not saying it's going to happen instantly or overnight. We could be talking about a period of many years, and I mean many years. So you've got to sort of start seeing that in perspective. And the perspective is, if you mess up today, then it'll slow you up for tomorrow. So try your best to do the best you can every single day to try and get the results to go after. The Three of Coins is demonstrating financial signs. Yes, that's very good. You may be concerned we've got the lightning struck tower in there, but essentially no. I feel you are going to make mistakes on the way, probably within 1 to 2 years. But some of those mistakes are going to drive you further forward. I mean, there's always a way of looking at something positive which can come out of something which is negative. And this is something which a lot of people forget. I mean, I myself have forgotten that in the past. But with reflection, we can start to see that the negative can actually start to put you on the right track rather than the wrong track. Have you found in your past that sometimes you've received advice or wisdom from people which has basically sort of set you off on the wrong tangent? I'll try and reflect back upon those moments and try and learn about what you did achieve and what you didn't achieve and what you're capable of achieving, because the success will rely not only upon the application of activity but also upon really using your wisdom and really being dedicated. Okay, so there is a feeling of success coming for you, but use what nature gave you. And also think about what you feel you can actually achieve and fit into your life. Hello, Carrot 8. You want me to have a look at your love life and your career? Let's just have a quick peek and see what kind of things is coming through. This is a relatively short-term future reading, so we'll have a look relatively short-term future, basing this predominantly on the chronological method. Well, relationship-wise, things are turning around. Something which you previously thought was not going to happen will actually occur, but at the expense of something you've been working for. The Star card does speak about you getting what you want, or what you've been wishing for, but it also says be careful what you've been wishing for, and I feel that there's a bit of a message there of something which you've been trying to work for sort of starts slowly ebbing away and being replaced by something which is much more in keeping with your own energy, what you would actually like to have in the bigger term, okay, associated with the development of a relationship which is going to work out according to plan. Now, speaking as a human being who's probably very similar to yourself, I spent a lot of my life thinking that I wanted to get certain things out of my life and out of relationships. But as it turned out, when I tried those things, it didn't actually work out according to plan. And maybe there's a reason for that. It was an opportunity for me to learn, basically, to learn that I wasn't ready or right for X, Y, or Z. But there's something else which is there, which I really should be paying attention to, which I have to start working towards. And I think that's one of the main messages of your short and mid-term future there, okay? Now, do we have any signs of passion? Definitely. The Knight of Wands is a very passionate sign anyway. But also you learning an awful lot of wisdom. Your significator here is the Princess of Discs, being down to earth, rational and practical, which actually counterbalances the energy that we've had at the Star there, which is much more wistful, romantic, romanticizing, and is much more to do with your dreams and your hopes and your aspirations. So I feel that your dreams are coming down to a level which is practical within the achievable reality of your future, rather than just thinking, yes, I want to get to there, but not necessarily being able to reach it because of various different limitations around you. That's what the reading's saying, romantically speaking. But let's have a quick look on the career side of things. Now, are there going to be the right qualities of career changes coming through for yourself? Very definitely. Very big, very strong. Now, I'm doing a separate spread now. I've got a separate spread in front of me, and yes, we get the Lover's card. Some people think, oh, the Lover's card, oh, it must be to do with romantic love and being together and all that kind of good stuff. No, wipe that thought from your mind. It's talking about a time of more responsibility. It's talking about a time of more maturity. And being the person who's essentially in charge, namely a position of authority, is opening up for you not too far down the line. Now, the other signs we've got here, very heavy earth signs. Very heavy indeed. 10 of coins, talking about financial abundance, well, basically doing slightly better than you've been doing in the past, and also a great sense of stability for the Prince of Discs there. So, this is looking very good for you if we think about the bigger picture. If we think about where you're going to be in 2 years' time. But it's based upon changes which are being orchestrated by you during this short-term future of the next 6 to 8 month period. So bear that in mind. I feel there's going to be short-term future changes of a positive nature coming for you as well. So do the best that you can. Okay, lots of questions about work these days, but in your particular case, you are going to do okay for yourself. But at the moment, you know, work extra hard on what the next level of responsibility is for you. Okay. Okay, a Sheikah has got a romantic connection with an individual and wants to make sure, you know, it's going to work out according to plan, whether he's got feelings for her and all that kind of cool traditional jazz. So let's just have a quick look for you. Still use my traditional combination of tarot and basically anything else that comes through. 8-card relationship reading, standard temperature and pressure, so to speak. Alright, here we go. I get a feeling he's thinking about you. There's desire for communication coming through in the force between the two of you, but a bit of struggle associated with that. Does he have feelings? I feel so. He's someone who would like to be in your life in the longer term future, but he's still working you out. He's still sussing you out. Doesn't understand all of the angles. Because a loving relationship can be just based purely upon the emotion, but the emotion itself is not the whole thing. You've got to love everything about the person. Okay, you've got to be able to accept everything about the person. And he doesn't fully understand everything about you yet, so there's still a sense of timidity to a certain degree. I mean, he can be quite a garrulous character according to the reading. Quite strong in himself. I feel that, you know, he's been looking after himself and he can survive. That's good. But now he still wants to find out more. On your side of things, a few signs relating to anxiety there, which I feel is like, you know, holding you back. The feeling of anxiety can be good because it can stop you from jumping the gun. But it can also stop you from feeling confident enough about doing something basic like saying, hi there, how's it going? Alright, I've got a few minutes to spare, do you want to do coffee sometime? Little stuff like that. I know that traditionally, you know, a lot of women think that it always should be the man who does the leading, but a lot of men are actually quite anxious when it comes to starting a relationship, and they want to also feel that something could occur, and that they're not wasting their time as well. Now, I think his confidence is a bit superficial. Okay, on the inside he's probably a little more frightened, a little more childlike, and a bit more almost inadequate, so to speak. Okay, not in that way, but, you know, a little inadequate as far as wanting to approach people on a face-to-face level and say, yeah, let's do something here. That's probably where some of the strife and struggle is coming from. So from your side of things, I mean, all you can do is keep your side of the street clean, basically. You can put in your actions to try and get some good quality results. And I think that's where you really need to start, where things could go. Again, I mean, I've been shuffling this deck very thoroughly, and yet we got the Star card coming out, mid-term future. What's that all about? Okay, short-term future, cup signs, that's talking about the start of the emotional bond. Then there's something of a romantic nature. In this particular case, it's looking okay. I feel he's actually starting to chill out. The thing which is coming through to my mind today is actually the water aspects of the Star card, therefore suggesting that he's starting to calm down, cool off, chill out, relax, and start to go with the flow. And yes, 6 of Staves, ooh, victory. This is going to take some time to build, but it does look like you got an end result there. So basically, go for it. You do need to give him confidence to be able to allow him to become the leader, if you get my drift. Some people say it's always like the man who's in charge of like the family unit. Well, yes and no, it's give and take though, isn't it, in reality, okay? So, see how it goes. I really rather have enjoyed doing this one because it looks quite optimistic. Okay, Sodex, you know, nice young fledgling tarot reader. got himself 3 different decks he's starting to work with using tarot, just working from the books, which obviously isn't the best way of doing things, because that can only provide you with a bit of basic background. I don't think there are any book meanings of the cards, I just don't. You can spend a bit of time learning from the books, okay, just to try and get some ideas or interpretations as to what the cards might mean, but with the rest of your life, the rest of your life as a reader, it's much more a question of contemplation, okay, and taking a bit of time out of your day. Just take a tarot card. Let's say I've got the Chariot here. Spend a bit of time meditating with it, you know, talking to it internally, contemplating it. Yes, research it by all means, but the flow of a reading, both inside and here, doesn't necessarily start with trying to use your analytical mind all the time. It just doesn't flow. That's too precise, I suppose. And you need to have something intuitive, and sometimes the reading starts telling itself, and that can't happen if you're just being someone who works on the intellectual brain. You've also got to have the empathic side of things. The intellectual brain is good though, because it helps you to analyze, and so don't lose it. But on the other hand, if you're trying to be a reader, it's slightly different. But we'll have a quick Celtic cross spread and see what kind of things is coming through for you. Forces surrounding your character, your inner and outer signs. You're cautious. You don't want to rush things. There's a strong sense of you having had some disadvantages in the past, and that's why I think playing quite heavily on you at the moment. Part of me feels that one of your reasons to search into tarot at the moment is to actually start looking at yourself from a different point of view, which is of course possible, and that's one of the reasons why people get into tarot, divination, astrology, runecraft, and all the rest of that cool stuff. I think it was at the back of Tom Graves' book on pendulum dowsing. He says that one of the main benefits of divination tools is so that you can learn to learn, or you can learn to perceive differently, and you can learn to understand yourself differently, and that's something which provides great rewards in its own right. So that's something else you need to bear in mind, okay? Subconsciously, you can be quite a happy-go-lucky individual. I don't think you actually let your overly analytical mind sort of like get in the way too much when you're thinking about, you know, anything really. But right now in your life, the sense of struggle is very apparent. It's like there's lots of forces in you which are trying to hold you back. So there's all kinds of things going on with you at the moment. It must be very complex. There's a bit of a sense of frustration. There's also this sense of subconscious joy or enthusiasm. Maybe you're the kind of person who can still get childishly excited about things with the passage of time. I think that's obviously pretty good. I think you're looking back to a time when life was a bit more stable, but on the other hand, you're anticipating great things. I think you're allowing the enthusiasm inside you to really carry you forward. But sometimes I think that your enthusiasm can sometimes get the better of you, and although you've got the intellectual analytical mind, you don't always apply it when you're feeling really enthusiastic about something. That's got positives and negatives about it, so again, try and get the balance right there. Progress, short-term, mid-term, long-term, future, and unexpected signs, which is of course the third card within the stave of the Celtic Cross. Here we have the stave cards of the Celtic Cross. We've got short-term at the bottom, mid-term, long-term at the top, and the third card there is unexpected. Okay. Or at least that's the way it seems sometimes. Okay, short-term future. Again, I mean, I shuffle like crazy and I get the same signs coming through. It's really, really strange. Short-term future signs of struggle, communication from someone who cares about you to try and bring you in the right direction. Also a sense of you becoming someone who will be very authoritative in the future. And that's mid-term future, so by the end of this year I think that there's going to be some substantial changes and you'll be thinking much more clearly than you've ever done before. Possibly as a result of being involved with tarot, I'm not sure. The unexpected signs. What is the connection that you've got associated with healing? What is it? Aromatherapy? There's something associated with the healing arts which is something there for you in the future which you probably haven't actually, you know, latched onto. Maybe in something you've looked into briefly, but it's not necessarily something that you've thought of as being a longer term or called career, but it's definitely there for you. Very long term future, great quantity of knowledge and wisdom. I mean, it looks like there's some things you've been through in the past that you can't properly, you haven't been able to learn from properly. You need to go through a bit more progression so that you can actually sort of like put that into perspective and all the rest of that. So there's a self-developmental message within this reading. There's no real signs of tragedy, especially on the financial side of things in the longer term future, so you're okay there. At the moment, the only real sort of vague romantic aspect would be in the anticipation of the future, which means things can go anywhere in that respect. But there's also this impression that I personally am getting of a connection with someone who is close to you, which is going to get stronger. So I think you should bear that in mind too. All in all, it's not a very bad reading. I think it's talking about some aspects of your perceptions, and I think that sometimes, according to the complexity of the signs that we've had coming through within this particular reading, I feel that, how shall I put this? I mean, it's almost like you can do things for what seems to be the right reason, but as you don't understand the full picture, you can end up doing something out of misinterpretation. Does that make sense to you? Okay. Alright, well that's the last reading for today for this one particular tarot show. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscriptions make me feel happy, okay? Also, if you do want to request a reading, don't leave it in the comment section. Don't give me a video response. Send it through by private message on this YouTube channel, which is Nick Dutch Tarot. Okay, all one word, all lowercase, Nick Dutch Tarot, NickDutchTarot. And of course, that'll add you to the rota straight away. I try and get this done relatively regularly, so keep viewing. Okay, there's lots of reasons to view my shows. Sometimes you can just get a bit of more reflection about your own life, about other people's lives. Sometimes you can learn from other people's readings. There's all kinds of reasons to basically do this stuff and just sit back and watch Nick Dutch just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. Obviously, I'm still available on Keen and LivePerson. I'm getting back into those markets now because I've got the issues of the winter more or less sorted out, and I look forward to hearing from you again. Of course, I'm also available on PSL. I'm also available on Cards of Fortune. I'm also available on Kumar and PsychicandSoul.tv as one of the off-screen readers. So for those of you who watch Sky on channel 885, you might see the name Nick Dutch pop up occasionally, possibly in the evenings or early mornings. I do vary my hours once in a while, so I can't guarantee when I'm going to be available, but I am definitely on those services. And I will definitely look forward to speaking to you soon. Now, some people actually want to have a reading done by email. If you go to my Keen account or you go to my LivePerson account, you can actually get an email reading straight away. That can be quite good for you, basically. Also, I can provide email readings on Cards of Fortune, Kuma.co.uk, which is KOOMA, and a few of the other British sites as well. So obviously I'm out there on the internet. Surf for me, Google me, look me up, and I'll be more than happy to oblige. So I'll bid you good fortune, God and or Goddess bless, and I look forward to speaking to you very, very soon.